very good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to PSA TV. This is the Wake Up Call with me, your host, Christy Kali Singh. A very bright and sunshiny day, if I must say, as compared to yesterday, where we got a lot of rain. So it's really nice to see the sun just peeping out a bit. I hope it stays that way. Jumping right into it today, I've got on the line with me the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Automotive Dealers Association, Mr. Visham Babwa. Good morning to you, Mr. Babwa.
Hi, good morning to you, your listener and your listeners.
All right, how are you this morning? I know you've been a bit under the weather.
Yeah, I had this cold for the past month and it's kind of not leaving me, so I have to take some different measures now in terms of medications to kind of get rid of it. You know, the cough is not going, so if there's something that is happening, a lot of persons have mentioned it to me that they get the flu and the cough is not going, so I have to take some antibiotics. I hope within 2 weeks or so I should be fine, but I kept postponing your interview and it was, I didn't feel right, so I said I have to do it this morning, even though they might hear a cough or two.
That's all right. It happens. We're all humans here. Mr. Babwa, if you could just tell me a little bit about your association.
The association of the industry. The association, we are going well. What we are doing, we have started lobbying the government. We would like to go green. The world has changed in terms of the environment. We have serious negative environment impact. It is impacting on us and is impacting on the world at large. Mm-hmm. So the automotive industry throughout the world has made changes with regards to the types of fuel and the amount of CO2 that is released into the air. So we had lobbied and we got the exemption for the smaller cars, right? That is on 1600 cc's and under. That is the hybrid and the full electric vehicles. We have them exempted. Mm-hmm. But people are looking for bigger vehicles with bigger engines for a different purpose. And this is where we have a challenge because the government had increased the taxes over 100%.
Yeah.
So a hybrid vehicle is a vehicle that costs more to manufacture. So the vehicle itself costs a lot more than a conventional non-hybrid vehicle. So we are lobbying them now to, instead of having 100% tax, which is not a tax that you would collect tax really, mm-hmm. That is a preventative tax, that is a prevention tax to prevent people from owning this type of vehicle because people have to purchase these size of vehicle with diesel engine. It is necessary for the job they do. Mm-hmm. And instead of having the tax over 100%, if you could reduce it by about 50% or so people would purchase the hybrid vehicle instead of the non-hybrid with that size of engine. And this is what I've started the lobby there for.
What you're saying is that the taxes implemented by the government is to prevent citizens from buying hybrid vehicles.
Yeah, well, if you bring a tax, right? If a vehicle is costing $300,000 and you bring a tax that is over 100%, and that vehicle goes up to $600,000-$700,000, and people could no longer afford it. It's not a tax for taxation purpose.
Yeah, it's
because
to benefit
you will not
somebody.
collect tax. You will not collect tax because nobody will purchase the vehicle.
Yeah.
And then the environment would be at risk. And then you would have people buying now the vehicle that even though the taxes are high, but because the hybrid, as I say, is a vehicle that costs more to manufacture, they would buy the non-hybrid one. Mm-hmm. So it's just a prevention tax. That's why I call it a prevention tax because you don't want people to drive these sort of vehicles, and that was made clear by the finance minister in 2017 when he said that if you want to drive it, pay for it. It was a remark that spurred this type of thought on.
What are some of the other challenges your association faces at the moment? I know you all have been talking about the lack of foreign exchange and its impact to the association itself. So tell me a little bit more about some of the challenges you all face.
That is still a big issue for all our members of the association and non-members. The challenge with the foreign exchange. That is something that we are trying to have meetings with several banks, but when you have meeting with them, they still keep saying that they don't have foreign exchange, and then you would hear the finance minister, in a budget will say, well, we have so much and our reserves are higher than it was, and so you hear contrasting answers being given with regards to the foreign exchange. But in this country, and I mean I will say this, is who you know and who know you, because I know persons who are able to import a lot of cars, and of course they have to get the US dollars,
Yeah.
and persons who are suffering. You have a bill to pay, and when after you pay that bill, you're not sure when you're getting any substantial amount of foreign exchange again to import another shipment. And this is a issue I always had with the bank, and I keep taking up with them at the branch level, right? That how come? I mean, the new car companies can import thousands and thousands of cars and have it packed up throughout the country. And if a small man like me try to import 50 or 40 cars, right, which is just, not enough to even maintain my staff, to sustain my business, you are telling me that I'm unable. You are giving me 20,000 and 15,000 US a month. I can bring 2 cars for that. So, we have to find other ways, talk to our dealers in Japan that they will wait for the payment and things like that, but it don't always work out that way. So this is a problem that we need some dialogue with the Bankers Association and but what is happening in this country is that, as you are aware, a very small population, a small amount of the population controls the economic activities of the country, and they are being given priority. And this is an issue that has to be taken up from the ground level, and the bank themselves has to deal with this matter.
Have you ever
because it won't just go away.
Have you ever seek consultations or any meeting perhaps with the Bankers Association on the issue of the non-equal distribution of foreign exchange?
Yeah, I sent several letters to the Bankers Association. I even sent letters to the central bank governor, and they refused to have meetings with us. So they never gave us the opportunity to have a meeting with them. So that is why we have to take it from the branch level, and I had called CEO of different banks and had the discussions with them, and they said, well, the same things they keep saying is that the foreign exchange are tight, but my concern also is that to get any currency in this country, right, like to get the euro or the sterling, they would have to use the US dollar to purchase that. So you could get a certain amount of the euro and the sterling, but it costs a lot more to purchase your goods. Instead of paying in US dollars, if you have to pay in euro, you might pay something like about 30% more because of the cost of the euro. So you could get some other currencies. So I had this discussion with banks. Why are you giving me the euro when when I import my goods here, I won't be able to sell it. I will literally have to take a loss.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense.
How does this now? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so this is an issue I am having with some of the banks now. They're telling you we could give you euro, but they are aware that the euro, you can't. It's not making sense.
Yeah, you're limited with it.
Yeah.
How does this now impact on your business?
It has a very, very negative impact on the business because you can't import the products, the cars, to really serve the citizens that the industry was designed to serve. The lower income persons, they would have to buy more expensive cars because of the fact that you won't get the amount of US dollars to import the cars that is really suitable for their need. And so it is having an all-round negative impact in terms of the growth of the economy. One second, please.
Do you think that perhaps...
Yeah, in terms of the growth of the economy, in terms of employment, in terms of everything, it is having a negative impact.
Do you think that perhaps this is a system designed by the government to probably stifle or limit the working class to just stay within that bracket, in terms of cars or vehicles on the whole, that you can't step out of a certain realm because of the, as you call it, preventative taxes?
Correct. There are measures in this country that is designed, right? And I have to say that the banks and the corporations that was really set up and supposed to be independent so that a business that grows to its full potential, they are also part of this. Because if the bank, in order to get proper foreign exchange, you have to go and do a big loan with the bank, which could endanger your business. Because if you don't, and they can't promise you, you're told like, but if you do a loan, yes, you will be able to get foreign exchange. You understand? But suppose I do a big loan and the economy should go down, or I don't get the foreign exchange to sustain this debt, then I run the chance of being bankrupt. And if I don't do the loan, you won't get the foreign exchange. So, the system is designed in this way to control, as you rightly said, to control the business that you could only reach up to a certain level and you cannot cross that. And this, it is very sad for our country, because in other countries, you have where the banks would encourage and they would support these type of businesses.
Yeah.
Because, I have been lobbying, I have lobbied single-handedly, you could say, for hybrid and electric cars since 2010.
Yes,
When I would call name, the Macy's and Southern Sales and these people, they were against it. I had serious issues to deal with while lobbying the government for this. And when it happened now, well, I know they had to jump on board. Everybody was forced to jump on board. But you have certain measures that are being put in place now that prevents me from getting the foreign exchange to purchase the amount of cars that I really need to sustain my business.
What do you think can be done?
Yeah.
What do you think can be done to have the foreign exchange be equally distributed? What do you think can be done?
Right. All right. We have a few banks here, right? And the banks are in control of the foreign exchange. When the central bank releases US, it goes to the commercial banks. But the commercial banks now, it is at their discretion that they will dispose of this foreign exchange. They will sell it. So who they see fit. So if you are a person like me, and you have to speak up against the bank, right? For whatever reason, because of my position, I have to be fair to all the dealers, and I have to speak up against them. I could find myself in serious a position that I am not getting the sufficient amount of foreign exchange. But if there are other persons, I'm just saying, who are higher up the chain, and they have people who they know and who know them in the banking system, they would be able to get foreign exchange.
Yeah.
And as I tell you, this has been happening. But what has been happening too is that, you see, the bank itself, the bank has a monopoly on that foreign exchange. I understand the bank, you will send the foreign exchange to the bank, but we need to find some other ways in which citizens could make sure that this foreign exchange is distributed equitably. And this is what the bank is holding over citizens of this country. And as I said, it is like it's a monopoly they have on it. And that is something that the central bank, when I tried to get a meeting and to see how some more deregulation could happen.
When you look at the sales of cars now as compared to a few years ago, hybrid cars that is, would you say sales has decreased or increased?
Yeah, hybrid car has taken off. People are more educated. They are traveling and they are doing research, and they have realized that with hybrid and electric vehicles, this is where the world has gone. As a matter of fact, since 2010, since I've been saying that, the world has went that way. But it's only when the big countries made statements, then people take note of it. They took note of it when India, when China, when Europe, when the UK made statements. That was in like 2015, 2014, 2015. But this is the way, because of the fact that we have this global issues, this environmental issues that we have to deal with. And in Trinidad, people have become aware of it. I have been educating people on this. And most of the cars that are being sold, like from my lot, I'll say 90% of the cars that are being sold are hybrid cars. And we have the full electric cars coming on stream in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. Fully electric. We have new technology within that hybrid and electric vehicle technology now. You have something called e-power. The e-power is a more fuel-efficient way because the engine is only used to charge the vehicle battery, and the battery drives the car. So your fuel consumption will go down by about 80 to 90% reduced. So, you have technology out there. You have to educate the people, and you have to let them know. And also, must have trained personnel to deal with
Yes.
these
Yes.
matters, these technical issues. I have trained people since 2010,
Yes.
and I've never had any serious problems with regards to these vehicles. So they have taken off, and it is the way the manufacturers have gone. So we are the end user. We have absolutely no input in what goes into the manufacturing of these vehicles. So we just have to purchase what is churned out. But to answer your question again, hybrid is the way, and this is the way forward, hybrid and electric. They have a few other new technologies, like solar cars and things like that. And so with the automotive industry technology is changing very, 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 very fast, extremely fast, because a lot of the companies now they have on test solar cars.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
within maybe next 5 or 10 years, we'll have solar cars. We'll have no need for this liquid or fuel.
Very interesting developments.
Yeah,
Very,
the automotive
very,
industry
very.
is very interesting, and it is moving fast paced ahead. And and this is one thing that I have to say. For the used car industry, since I've been at the helm of this, I have tried to get the best in terms of technology to the citizens of this country, because you would have expected that the franchise dealers, the Neil Massey's and the Ansmatas and things, would have done that because they would have had priority. But they held back on this type of vehicles. I don't know why, but since 2011 I started to import these cars. I was the first to import it, and people at first they were hesitant, but people have to say, like, they have to say the foreign used car dealers are the ones that have bought this in the country, and it shouldn't have been so. As I said, the franchise dealers were the one that was supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And this is another issue that the government needs to look at. If the foreign used car people, who they control for, we are bringing brand new people off the line now, even before the franchise dealers, with the latest technology, then something has to be done to support this type of businesses.
I don't know if you would have seen some comments made by an executive member of Massey Motors, where it was stated that because of the retrenchment at Petrotrin in particular, Petrotrin was singled out in stating that there were a lot of vehicles were returned to the company. I don't know if retrenchments or the way in which the job market is right now, has it affected sales directly or indirectly?
Yes, with the retrenchment, and it's not only with regards to Petrotrin. When Petrotrin employees were sent home, remember you had a lot of changes because you had contractors. One second. You had contractors and you had other persons who depended heavily on Petrotrin and its subsidiaries. So that has affected sales, right? It has affected sales. It has affected the whole economy, the entire economy. And this is something that it won't change overnight. And I'm seeing in the newspaper, I'm seeing a report that, and I said this, that we run the risk of having fuel problems in this country because of the shutting of the refinery.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing and I'm hearing things because we got fuel, and I had to comment on it. We got fuel that was not up to the standard that we were told, and people were having several problems with their vehicles. But that kind of we don't know where that is. We're still in between. People are still having problems. So where the fuel is imported from, the quality of fuel that is imported, and what we are being told, because we have no independent way of verifying the quality of fuel. They once said that they will put NP to do an investigation there. But how can you investigate yourself? You cannot, and we have no independent way of doing it. So all these things with the automotive industry, and the retrenchment, there will be a heavy negative follow-up also. It won't just go away. A few people will get jobs and things. But I read that article, like I said, and the person that a lot of people had to return their cars.
Yeah.
It is sad. It is sad because this is something that just happened out of the blue. Out of the blue, you just do a retrenchment and you close down a refinery and you close down petrol. Now you have to import the fuel. You're saying you don't have the money to import the fuel. I remember the finance minister, the prime minister saying, with this move, we are going to have more foreign exchange. Yesterday, I'm reading on a newspaper that Mr. Wilfred Espin said they are having a lot of serious challenge with raising the U.S. to import the fuel.
Yes, and in fact,
so if we had a refinery here, if we have a refinery here, and you're not using it, you chose to close it down. You didn't do your research properly.
yeah,
He was the man in charge of the shutting down of the refinery and Petrotrin.
Yeah, we would have also seen in a letter allegedly written from him to the finance minister stating that the company has been operating at a loss, that is Paria Fuel, one of the replacement companies to Petrotrin. And again, it brings into question the lack of foreign exchange, which again impacts on not just car dealers, but the country as a whole economically.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. You know, before they shut down the refinery and they closed down Petrotrin, these are things that they're supposed to take into consideration. I mean, it's appearing now, it is appearing to me that the people who they had chosen to do this job were not professionals. Because if you are saying that we wasn't having a problem with fuel there, now you are talking about the fuel that is being imported. The country is running the risk of not having fuel one day. That is a very, very, very serious issue. Because if you don't have fuel, you're talking about the whole country shutting down. You know, you're talking about a black market also too. Because whenever you start to talk now, and this is one concern I've always had with the shutting down of the refinery, and I've told people, I said, be very careful and be wary of this. Because of the fact that with the shutting down of the refinery and a private company operating the importation of fuel, there will be no controls in the price of fuel. So if another shipment of fuel comes in and they realize that they're not getting US to purchase a shipment that will arrive here on time, they might just increase the price. And people have no choice but to purchase the fuel. So this sort of, whenever they make this sort of decision, this should have done with serious consultation with all the sectors involved. And that was never done. So now our country could be at any point in time without fuel.
It's very scary to think.
You know, so these are very, very, very serious issues that the citizens need to understand. I mean, and that's why now I even encourage people. I said, purchase a hybrid car. When you purchase a hybrid car, you burn 75-80% less fuel. Less fuel than a conventional car. And you buy it where you get good warranties, and you know you be sure of what you are purchasing. But and this would assist you because your fuel bill will go down, and if you are filling gas, like some people would have to fill gas every week, and now they are filling gas like once a month. So these things would have a great impact, a positive impact in your savings and the environment and everything. So you have to look for ways that where you could not be affected so much if you should have a problem with regards to fuel.
Do you predict a bright future ahead for the foreign car dealers?
Well, I'm keeping ahead of it, right? I'm keeping ahead of it. I will have a meeting with the minister. I spoke with her yesterday. You know, she's open to discussion. You know, recently I must say that she had given us some additional quotas, right, which is something that we have never gotten. So I did thank her for it, but also we need other support from the Ministry of Trade for our business to expand, to employ more people. And you know, the automotive industry is a very vibrant industry, and it's one that sometimes you will hear people say, "Boy, we have too much cars in the country." No, we don't have too much cars in the country because our consensus on the cars, the amount of vehicle on the road, was never done. And a vehicle is something that is always changing in terms of technology, right? In terms of the shape, the design, the technology, the drivability, everything is changing. So people will want new model cars. This is, you know, how it was designed. Yeah. So what happened? You have semi-autonomous car now. Like I have semi-autonomous car. You have lane assist. The car won't just run up the road with you just so it won't just you won't make an accident from a rear just so you won't rear in the car just so because the car will automatically stop. So you have all these new safety features and in the car, and you know we are bringing this to the country. So I am keeping ahead of it, and I have the challenge with the foreign exchange as like everybody else. But I know more could be done, and you know when we have meetings, we continue to have meetings with the minister, right? We will have meetings, and then we see what type of assistance, right, we could get with regards to the industry because the industry employs a lot of people, and we have highly skilled people now because now it's just not a spanner mechanic, you know.
Yeah.
You have to be highly qualified in the field as a technician, a vehicle technician now to service these vehicles, right? So the skilled people are also being brought into the system now. So we need that support from the ministry. And I spoke to the minister yesterday, and she said, "Well, yes, I'll send the letter, and we'll have a meeting with her." So from there, we'll see how we get ahead with it.
That's some good news coming in there for you. Mr. Babu, I'm going to ask you your closing comments as we wrap things up for this section of the Wake Up Call.
I didn't hear you well, Christy. I didn't get that at all.
I'm going to ask you your closing comments.
My closing comment is that I urge the citizens of this country to make a stand. If something is happening, don't just sit down with regards to anything. You know, accountability is important. As what happened in Petrotrin, there was a government should not think that they are not accountable to the people. And just as how I will stand up and I will say things, the citizens need to do that because you know sometimes people might say, you know, changing, but I might get a bit political here. Changing governments might not be the answer. You have to hold them accountable. Accountability is most important. And you have to stand up and be counted. And make sure that you do your little part. You might not be able to change the world, but change the way you do things and let that be an example and stand out.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the phone this morning, Mr. Babu. I know, like I said, you're a bit under the weather, so I hope you feel better soon. It's on that note, we have come to the end of this section of the Wake Up Call here on PSA TV. We're going to toss to news right now, and yes, no problem. All right, so we're going to toss to news right now, and when we come back, we are joined by the founder of Trinidad Weddings, Mrs. Simone Sant Gurram. Stay with us.